right, it's official. Welcome to Come Back with a Warrant, first episode of the podcast.
Yes.
Very excited to be here with you. I'm Brandon Dinetz.
Monica Ishak.
And together we are Come Back with a Warrant podcast.
Yes.
So getting right into it, our origin story, if you will, how we know each other. I was a former prosecutor at the state attorney's office in Palm Beach County for 4 years and had the privilege of having many cases against you at the same time that I was there. That was you were a public defender, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And after a good amount of time trying cases against each other, you left the state, you left the government, I left the government, and we both opened up our own shops.
Yeah. So I started at the public defender's office. I was there for 3 years, and you were my first ever opponent, which is so crazy now because now we're like, it's like a full circle moment that we're here. So I'm super.
Your first trial ever was against me.
Yeah,
I remember.
Well, technically it was my second because I had done my first one as a CLI.
Okay.
But I barely did anything. But my first trial ever, technically was against you.
How long were you a practicing attorney before you had your first trial? Do you remember?
Oh my gosh, yeah. I think my first trial was in December and I got barred in September of that year. So it was like a couple months.
How'd that trial go for you?
Oh my gosh. It was very nerve-wracking for me as just a brand new lawyer. I feel like you come out like not knowing anything. And then at the public defender's office here in Palm Beach County, they make you do the whole thing from beginning to end. I don't know if you remember that I did literally every part of that trial.
Right, yeah. You had a second person sitting there with you, but you had to do all the work on the trial.
Yeah, but like normally in trial, like that's not how it goes. Like you had a partner, you split your work with her. And, usually ever since then, I've pretty much done that too. But yeah, that was very nerve-wracking for me. Obviously, it didn't result in a good result for my client, but
win some, lose some.
Exactly.
I mean, fair enough. I think my wins and losses were in jury trials, especially at that level. As a prosecutor, you're about 50-50 because you're only taking the cases to trial at that stage that are toss-ups. You're not taking the solid winners to trial. Well, I guess it depends
that was
on
you as a prosecutor.
I guess it depends on the person, but I don't think I took a slam dunk to trial. I think if it was because if something's a slam dunk, then both parties are going to resolve it.
Yeah.
One way or the other. It's either going to get dismissed or it's going to plea out.
Yeah, unless you have the energy from the defense, it's like going to war no matter what, or vice versa with the state. Like it just depends on like literally the players in the room, like who's defending and who's prosecuting. Because I think, like you're saying, like at least when I was prosecuting, you didn't do certain things, but
when you were defending and I was prosecuting,
I'm saying you were saying you didn't take slam dunks to trial. You could have been like, no offer, we're going to trial.
That's totally true, and I could have done that, but I don't think that's the right way to do that job. And I think the best prosecutors out there are the ones that understand their role and that they're not just taking a DUI where there's a blood alcohol level above a 0.2 and everything is on video and the driving pattern is on video and everything. They're not taking those cases, forcing those cases to go to trial just so that they can win in front of a jury. It's a waste of
resources, time, energy, especially when defense comes in the room and they're like, what's your plea offer? We want it now.
Totally. Check out these awesome mugs.
Yeah, super cool.
Got our logo on them and the logo's on the back.
I call Brandon our creative team because he literally takes care of this. So, 10 out of 10.
I had help. I had help. I did not do it on my own.
So, I was just going to ask you, because I was interested when we were like preparing for this, what your first impression was of me.
As a prosecutor, my first impression of all of the public defenders coming in were, this is going to be somebody that is a challenge to work with off the jump, because in my early experience, the younger public defenders were gung-ho to fight every single battle.
Yeah.
And there are certain situations, and we will definitely get into them in this show, where doing that is a disadvantage to your client, a disadvantage to just how you do your job. And it also hurts your ability to practice consistently in the same courtroom with the same prosecutor and the same judge, because they're seeing that you're just being kind of unreasonable.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that as a lawyer, the opposing counsel and the judges know that you are reasonable. Not that you're a pushover, or not that you always give in, but that you can be reasonable and that you can fight the fights that you should fight or that you need to, but you're not just making the choice to fight in everything. So that's a long way to say my first thought was, are you going to be like that? And I found that you were extremely reasonable. There's a stigma about public defenders, this true believer mentality that every single person is innocent that you're representing. And not that you thought all of your clients were guilty or innocent, but you were realistic. You know, if there was a case where there was surveillance evidence of your client doing something, like, you were able to say, hey, that's what the situation is. The evidence is that. Let's negotiate a deal. But you stood firm on the things that you believed in. You fought for what you wanted, and I respected that. I didn't always agree with you, but like, I knew that if I was going to go to trial with you, it would be respectful. And you know, I was definitely a hard ass as a prosecutor. I know that I was at times, but I tried to be as reasonable as possible. I think.
I
think I was pretty reasonable.
You were great. I think you were great, and you were the lead at the time in the courtroom when I got there. So for me, I was like, I have a case against the lead. You know, what does that mean? And like, now we know it's really just
the person that's been there the longest. Yeah, that's stuck in that courtroom the longest, with that in front of that judge the longest. Like, which has its benefits. It has its nice to be in a. You basically are walking into the same office every day. Like, you're walking into the same courtroom, and it's nice to practice in front of one judge and one deal with one JA and one deputy, and it's
easier.
Yeah, it's easier, but
there's
it also
camaraderie too.
Yeah, that's true. And I think, and one thing we'll talk about is our individual transitions from working for the government, working for the state, to working private. Camaraderie and having people around and having that social experience, that's completely different when you leave and you go, outside of working for the government. That was probably one of the best parts about working for the state attorney's office. Was it felt like I went from law school to the state attorney's office, and it was like another part of law school. Yeah. And it was another part of growing and, working with people, meeting people, having that feeling of being in the trenches with a group of people. Yeah. That's really, really cool. That's something I definitely miss now, because, I work for me. I only have myself to deal with, and,
That's so real.
That's a different that's probably the biggest downside to being a solo practitioner, is not having that
support system,
camaraderie of all of the other lawyers in the office at the time, which is cool. At some point, who knows if hopefully I'll have something like that. But that was one of the best parts about working. I
agree. I felt the same way at the PD's office, and you could tell, like, I felt that I could see that at the States too. Like, you guys are like friends, like just like we were friends. Like, you go into each other's offices, have lunch, talk, whatever, like same thing. And then now when you're solo, you have to like actively seek that community, or like those people, or like hit people up if you have like questions about a case or whatever, whereas before you could just walk into someone's office and be like, hey, what do you think about this? What should I do?
Right. And the idea of working together and being able to just bounce ideas off each other, even things that you take for granted, that I take for granted now, or I took for granted then, learning new law and
Yes.
learning the new trends in the law and the educational factor that you got being in that position, whether it was from classes that were being taught or it was from one of the other lawyers, your colleagues, stumbling upon a novel issue, and now you have something to research, and that becomes a new topic, a new interest, and something that either you could use in your cases, something that you see popping up, a big change in the law, and it always helps you stay on top of everything.
Yes.
Now, the research that I do, I have to want to do it on my own. I have to dig deep and find the legal nerd in me that wants to learn about certain issues if they are just new novel issues. It's just something, not something that's coming up in a case.
Yeah, the onus really is on us to like figure it out or subscribe to whatever, we need to subscribe to in order to get the information we need to do our cases or to grow as attorneys. Whereas like I think at the public defender's office and at the state attorney's office, they expect like young and new lawyers. So they set it up in a way where it's like almost like they're schooling you all over again, just kind of like the junior leagues or something.
It's like a residency program for doctors.
That's
like
so true,
it's like they have to go to hospitals and spend time as a resident in a hospital. I think, I don't know, my wife watches a lot of Grey's Anatomy, so that's like basically as much as I know about what a resident does. But that's kind of what the period of time at the state felt like.
Yeah, especially for us, because we spent like 3 to 4 years there versus other people who could spend forever there. I mean, there's a lot of people that are just seasoned lawyers there, and they're great lawyers, you know, and then they move up in the chain and they start working on more serious cases or they start mentoring the new lawyers or whatever it is. So, I mean, what you're saying is so true, and I think it applies on like both state and defense. But I really did love my experience at the PD's office, even though it was hard. It was like, I really felt like what you said, like in the trenches, like every single day, just because every day was a battle because our caseload was so high that not every single client obviously is going to plea. And there's just trials, and then not every case is with the same prosecutor. So you have to kind of figure it out if you don't have that good relationship with them. I did with you and with the other state attorneys in the courtroom, but we had some turnover on our side and your side where it was kind of rough at times. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, no. We had
with certain lawyers.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's like a specific person coming to my mind right now with you.
There's some there. I mean,
but I felt like you were justified.
It was it was a mixed bag. I was blessed to have worked with excellent public defenders.
Yeah.
And then there were some times where I didn't have the very best. And ultimately, the people that I worked with that were not the very best at that office left working at that office at the same time that they were either in my courtroom with me or shortly thereafter. So I don't think that was all.
Yeah.
That it was me. And I don't,
Yeah, it just happens. It's just like.
Anyone having nervous breakdowns is not something that I'm going to take responsibility for. Although I don't know how many nervous breakdowns there were in that courtroom, but I imagine there were a few that, I don't think I contributed.
No.
I would say that, it's a stressful environment.
Yeah, 100% it is. It is. Especially
for certain people.
Yeah.
And, also some people just are not cut out to do that job. Whether you're working as a prosecutor or a public defender, you have a huge caseload. There's a lot of pressure on you. You are going to be in trial.
Mm-hmm.
You have obligations to get very specific work done on each case that you have.
Yeah.
Each case you have to go through discovery. Each case you have to go through an offer and speaking with the parties that are involved in the case. Everything involves work, even if it's the least serious type of case to the most serious that you're handling at any given time.
Yeah.
I think that going to work for the public defender's office or the state attorney's office, I think is something that everybody out of law school should do.
I agree.
Certainly if you want to find yourself in being a litigator or being a trial attorney, I think there's no better way to learn. It's almost like I think every single person should also have to be a waiter at some point and wait tables, because I think there's just certain, and I did it, and I think there's just certain jobs that you do that teach you a lot about life and about what you're going to do in your profession and how you're going to do it and how to interact with people. I think if you're going to be a trial attorney, there's no better place to start than where you have a huge caseload and you're going to be in trials frequently.
Yeah.
And can get on trials by asking people to sit with them and whenever you want. I mean,
how many times do we like, hey, I have a trial, I need a second chair. Can you jump on it
Yeah.
next day of,
Yeah, all the time.
I mean, it's not ideal practice, but it is what it is when you're at the state and the PD's office.
Right. And I trusted the people that would ask me to.
Exactly.
If somebody said to me, hey, can you there were a lot of really good prosecutors, and a lot of them are defense attorneys now that I worked with, that if they ever asked the day of a trial, they said, I need a second, I would jump on.
Yeah.
It was never, I trusted that they had worked up the case and that we were there trying a case that was worth trying. It really
teaches you teamwork too, and like collaboration, because I don't know, like I remember like trying cases with certain people where I didn't have like that kind of chemistry with them during trial that I had with some people I had already tried cases with. And I was like, why? And it's because like certain people just don't have that like teamwork, like they never like learned to like kind of be someone's support and vice versa. So I think like I really got kind of better at being a teammate and supporting someone and needing like being able to just ask for help, because I always personally just always had issues asking for help. So I really did like the collaborative environment of like trial too, and like being able to do that, because that really I think is something that not everybody can do, obviously,
No, I agree with that.
Which is why I think you're saying it's hard to be solo now, because you had that's where we started,
With all of that ability to be collaborating constantly, with all of that, surrounded by the social atmosphere, which also fosters continuing to learn and progress as an attorney and try new things.
Yeah.
Which, you don't get the ability to try new things or exposed to try new things as much as a private solo attorney as you do as a government attorney. But ultimately, the bottom line is it's not all sunshine and rainbows working for the government, right?
No, and but those were the perks for sure.
Right. And that's why, we find ourselves we have found ourselves in a position where we've moved on from that, as the majority of people do that go to work for the government. But why did you ultimately make the decision to leave the public defender's office?
So I left and I went into insurance defense, and that was like civil litigation. So I had never done anything civil related, not even in like law school. Like everything up until that point, my like legal experience had been solely criminal defense. I never even like interned at the states or anything. Like I was always just criminal defense. And then when I went to civil practice, I was like, nothing against civil litigators before I start this.
Go on.
But, and whatever, we'll talk more about that. But I felt like the first job I had in insurance defense, because I had 2 different jobs in insurance defense, it was very much so like a desk job. I felt like I was just like I worked as an associate for someone at a partner at a big firm, and I was just like doing discovery responses all day. It was like copy and paste. I felt very bored. I just like missed, and I had so many of my PD clients call me at my firm and be like, "Hey, are you like private now? Like, can I hire you?" And I was like, "No, I'm working in civil insurance defense, unless you have like, not even then, because I'm representing insurance companies, so I don't even know." But it really like made me miss like criminal defense. So then I went back into criminal defense and worked for a solo. And then I went back into insurance defense, and I had a trial. I was on trial team for that. So I was in trial like all the time. But then I just missed doing what I love. And I just like, it made me, I feel like I had to try different things in life to confirm that I love like to do what I do, which is criminal defense. And then there were different aspects of civil litigation that just didn't make sense to me. I felt like there was a lot of hostility over minor things that didn't matter. And I think that coming from a criminal defense background, or even just criminal in general, it put a lot of things in perspective. Like, these are not issues worth fighting over. Like in civil litigation, there's a lot of issues about like not, if you don't comply with certain like deadlines or timelines, you know, everything's stricken, your case falls apart. Mm-hmm. And for me, I'm like, usually the defense just has to make a constitutional argument and we get what we need to get done in the case, you know, like that's not an issue. So like, I just felt like there was always like this technicality that like we were arguing about. And then like, there was no sense of like respect between the parties or the attorneys. There's always this hostility between the attorneys. So I just felt like, you know, like I didn't even have this when I was fighting for my client's freedom, you know, like even when it was hostile, it was never, I feel like it reached a point where it like never really went beyond the courtroom. Like we would hash it out in the courtroom, go outside. Like we don't have to be friends, but we're not disrespectful to each other. And I feel like that's something that is like kind of a culture in the criminal field for the most part. Mm-hmm. So when I went from that to crazy like hostility between the parties on top of the stressful job that we do every day in terms of like litigating and like dealing with our clients, our bosses, whatever it is, I was like, I'm just not interested in this. You know what I mean? So I decided I just wanted to start my own firm because I was like, I feel like life pulled me in this direction and, you know, this is where I'm at now. But I'm so grateful to be doing what I do. And I love that the part of solo that I love or being in private is that your clients choose you. Obviously, there are different ways. Like I'm on the wheel, so I get appointed on some cases where my clients don't choose me. But for the most part, like I choose my client chooses me. And like at the PD's office, you don't have that luxury. It's always like, I want a real lawyer. I don't want you on my case, but you're the only one that's really fighting for them or like telling them what they need to hear or whatever. So I just feel like this is a new season that I need to be in, and I'm so grateful to be in it. But there's like, again, every single time you do something, it's not always rainbows and sunshines, like you're saying. There's downsides to everything. So I do miss the PD's office, but and aspects of it, I should say. But ultimately, I still feel like whenever I go to court and I see like the familiar faces, and like it's always nice to just like see the same people, or like even like the judges are always like, it's good to see you, because you know, when I moved up to felony, I was in the same courtroom pretty much the entire time until I left the office. So, you know, I was in that courtroom for like, and you stay in the courtroom for like over a year, you know, you're mm-hmm. dealing with the same people over and over and over again every day. So whether you like them or not, you will end up having some sort of camaraderie because you show up to work every day and you see them. So it's always nice to like have those familiar faces too. So there are just different aspects of each job that I feel like, oh, I miss, but like, this is ultimately, like, I think where I'm supposed to be. So I'm so grateful. Otherwise, I also wouldn't be here with you. You know?
Fair enough.
That's
yeah,
also another perk.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and also I wanted to mention when you were talking about the social aspect of, and I'm kind of going off topic.
Please.
But the social aspect of the state attorney's office, you met your wife.
I did.
At the state attorney's office.
I did.
And you proposed in court. Like, you have to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at some point. The viral proposal.
Yes, that went viral. And now they have a cute baby.
Yes, we do. We have a very cute baby. So yeah, we'll talk about all that, all that fun stuff. But yes,
we'll tab that for later.
Yeah, well, that's sure, and we're gonna have, you know, spoiler alert, we'll have her on an episode. My wife, Jen, she'll come on and talk. She's one of these civil attorneys that you speak so highly of.
I would love to work a case against her, though.
Yeah, well, she's as ethical as they come, and she's also a complete badass in her own right, and I think I call her one of the top lawyers in the county, but I think that's, I can say that, you know, biased or unbiased. I think that's just, she's really the real deal. So we'll have her on at some point. But yeah, I definitely she was a supervisor when I first met her. So
Brandon, that's
scandalous.
Yes.
Scandalous.
My. I did not know
you can't
that
even
information.
you can't even have that nowadays.
No, they have policies.
That poor guy from Astronomer
HR?
or wherever he was, that guy.
Oh my God, I had no idea. That's so funny. I remember how you used to talk about her, which was like so cute, which is the same as how you are now. It's like she's such a badass. And
she's
I was like,
she's
I can't
very
wait to
cool.
meet this woman.
Yeah, she was a prosecutor, and now she's she does personal injury and products liability, and she's got her own firm, so she's the real deal.
Yeah.
We'll talk about her, but yeah, I mean, I would guess that for you, not having to hear any of the, public pretender or any of the other slang that you got thrown anymore is probably quite nice for you, and not something that you have to deal with.
No, yeah, it was definitely very, very stressful. Well, my first batch of cases were actually PD clients because the office gave me some cases under contract, which was nice, but I still heard it and I was like getting PTSD. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was always one thing I never
liked.
Yeah, I never liked that because I feel like the public defenders get a bad rap, and I know from being a prosecutor how
truth.
much better a lot of the public defenders were than private attorneys.
Yes.
And the quality of representation that people would get that would hire a private attorney versus having the public defender. And I can't speak for everywhere, but I can speak for Palm Beach County during the time when I was there and present. And for the majority of the time, the public defenders knew what they were doing. And that was beneficial for me because it allowed me to do my job effectively. And it also made it interesting to fight and argue because it was with intelligent, competent people.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
that's also a twist. But I spent 4 years at the state attorney's office, and then I left. I always wanted to do
defense.
I always wanted to be in the criminal law world.
Okay.
Always. And that's from being a little kid, and that's from, watching different TV shows and growing up thinking Boston Legal was one of the greatest shows ever. Like I used to love different trial lawyers. I know it's an
cool.
odd one to pull, but I used to love different TV trial lawyers, and I had a family member that got into some trouble, so I saw up close what defense attorneys did, and I always wanted to find myself in that realm.
Yeah.
At the end of law school, I asked a local attorney what I should do if I want to find myself in a position where I'm kind of doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah.
And they told me start your career at the state attorney's office, and specifically try to start at the Palm Beach state attorney's office. And that's what I did. And
that's interesting.
yeah, but really the interview story with me there is pretty funny too.
Really?
We'll put a pin in that one. That's a very funny story for another time.
I want to hear about this.
But I got the job there, and I had a privilege of working there for 4 years. A little under 4 years, and then I left and went and worked at a criminal defense firm locally for another 4 years, and that I loved. And then after that, I left and opened up my own shop, and I have BD Law now, and I get the privilege of doing what I love, which is practicing the law and representing people that are in terrible situations. And I get the freedom to do things like this, where I get to have like this show, and I get to spend a lot of time with my son and my wife, and that stuff makes me happy. So the
can't
flexibility,
put a price tag on that.
No, you really can, and the flexibility to be able to do all of that is
worth it.
Is worth it.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
so real.
everybody complains when you're working for the government, like the money sucks, and that's true, but that's not really why you're doing it.
No.
You're doing it more for the experience.
Yeah, and there's also the benefits are great too. Like
that's true. The government benefits are amazing.
That's worth something. So we have to pay for our own insurance now. Before it was $8. So $8 a month insurance.
Yeah, that was really nice. Thinking about that now,
I'm like,
that
I
was
need that
really
in my life,
nice,
and
when
it covered
insurance was
everything.
Yeah. Anything you needed, any type of like surgery, it was like, oh, no problem.
Yeah. It was really great. But
oh man,
those days
I do miss
long,
that. I do miss
gone.
the government and insurance, but like
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
you take what you
exactly. And there's
the good
also
with the
like
bad.
hopefully like you buy your time back eventually. Like there's this freedom sense where you're
that's true.
able to just hopefully eventually be able to have all your time and make money at the same time. So that's an opportunity that you can have by starting your own business in general, maybe not just firm, but versus at the government, you're working a 9 to 5, like or whatever.
And you don't.
time.
I mean, you don't worry about. Obviously, when you're in that position, you're not worried about any of the business expenses that you have or the actual things that come with running a business.
Yeah.
And that's all stuff we'll talk about on this show also, is just being a young entrepreneur and specifically being here in South Florida, where we do get a lot of privileges to be able to run our businesses here because of the financial benefits that come with having a business in this part of the country.
Yeah.
That's a huge benefit. And I think you see so many new businesses, and whether that's law firms or anything else in our area, because of some of just the incentives financially to do it here.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. But I think one other thing that we obviously should talk about is how we came about starting the show together.
Yeah.
So when I opened up my own firm a little under a year ago, I saw on social media that you were killing it. Like, you had a ton of social media stuff going on. You were putting up videos constantly, and I was like, I can watch these videos and enjoy them and not think like, oh, this is just like another like legal ad that I am sitting through.
Yeah.
I liked the content, and I had worked with you in the past as when you were a PD, and when we had cases together, we worked well. And I figured, I wanted to see if there was some sort of combined marketing that we could do. And this kind of was
we both love to talk.
Yeah.
So this is like the best way to do it, I think.
Yeah, this is a awesome way to do it. I mean, look at that artwork. Isn't that something?
Made by the creative team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
I love it. It's so good. And we both have lion logos, so it's like perfect.
Yeah. I do a lot with lions. I go a little lion heavy.
Yeah.
I think, at times.
Yeah.
Probably.
No, I love when you post like the
lion in the suit.
lion head in a suit. Yeah, it's so cool. I'm like,
great.
This is badass.
I think it's awesome.
This is my lawyer.
I'm like, look at this guy. He's a lion in a suit.
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing that comes up when I put up the lion in the suit on Instagram, or not on Instagram, or sometimes on Instagram, but on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay.
Usually is where I put up stuff with a lion in a suit. And I'm not advocating for anybody else to do this, because I'm not saying it's very helpful or not, but it's definitely enjoyable for me. When I make the lion and he's got his suit on, oftentimes I look and I see he's got either human hands, he's got like human hands. And then I have to decide, is that weird that the lion in a suit that's giving legal advice has human hands?
I literally never even noticed that when I looked at it.
So,
I'm just
proud to say these lions don't have hands for it to be an issue.
No, they have mics though.
They do have mics. But that is my lion in a suit issue, is whether or not they have human hands or not.
Maybe we can find out in the comments. You guys let us know. What should we have? Which one should Brandon do?
Like 5 fingers, but looks furry, almost like a paw.
Yeah. Like a really hairy human hand.
Yeah. Yeah. People out there with lion paw looking hands.
Yeah, he's getting like $0 ROI on this.
Yeah, no, nothing. Lion in a suit brings me nothing but personal joy.
Yes, exactly.
But I'm going to keep posting it.
Hands, yeah,
I'm going to keep posting it. Lion in a suit.
That's so
I did an Ask Me Anything on LinkedIn, and I put, I think I put somewhere in the comment that I wrote that the lion in the suit will be there.
Make sure to expect the lion in the suit.
Yeah, don't be startled if there's a full-grown lion in a suit at your next meeting.
Oh my God, that's so funny. We need to have that's what you should do for Halloween or something.
Is a lion in a suit?
Yeah, wear a suit and put a lion head on or something.
Now we have an idea.
Yeah, you and your son can match.
Oh, that would be cute. He'd be a little cub.
That would be really cute.
I like that. That's pretty good.
I love that.
So we are basically wrapping up our first episode.
Yeah.
We have talked about a lot about just how we got here to begin with, but what people can expect in the future from us is going to be a lot of conversations about local legal issues that are popping up, national stories that are interesting. We'll talk about experiences that we've had. Specifically, we'll talk about courtroom stories that we can get into. We're going to have guests.
Yes.
So I've already hinted. I hinted at one of them, and we're going to have more. But we are very excited. This is going to be a really, really fun show, and I think if people enjoy it and they listen and like it, and you'll tell them what they need to do, and that's that.
Yeah, for sure. So check the show comments. Follow us on all of the social media platforms. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess that's it.
Like, follow, subscribe, do all the things that you need to do.
And if not, if you don't like it, then come back with a warrant.
Yeah. Come back with a warrant.